Since the beginning of the monarchy, people have had a particular obsession with the British royal family. What's not to love? They have money, power, beauty, and most importantly, crazy secrets and controversies. Today, we are diving deeper into the inner workings of the British royal family and shedding light on some of their darkest scandals. Stay tuned to see the latest secrets to rock the royal crown and have everyone asking if Kate is expecting baby number 4. We'll have that and much more because these are the biggest royal family secrets of all time. According to rumors, Meghan and Harry's children will be labeled lords and ladies, and this just doesn't sit well with the new royal. She feels like she isn't getting the respect she deserves from the older royals, and this was the final straw. While no one is sure the meltdown tape actually exists, it just goes to show how much disdain the aides have for Meghan. What's even more alarming is the fact that Kate Middleton had her 37th birthday party at Kensington Palace and didn't invite Meg or Harry. Is there more trouble in the royal family than we thought? Only time will tell, but we'll have more Meghan-Kate feud secrets later, so stay tuned. Meghan isn't the only woman to marry into the royal family that's caused controversy. Back in 1981, Princess Diana married Prince Charles, and let's just say it was a rocky relationship from the start. The two met when Prince Charles was dating Diana's older sister. Diana was only 16 at the time, and no one could have predicted that she would become a royal. In fact, it's rumored her sister had no desire to marry Charles, and that's when he set his eyes on Diana. The two finally tied the knot when Diana was 20, and the rest was history. Literally, the rest has been in history textbooks because of all the crazy scandals the marriage produced. One of the largest scandals of all were the constant rumors of infidelity. It's now public knowledge that the stories were true. While many vilify Prince Charles for his role in the marriage, Princess Diana wasn't as innocent as she seemed. In 1989, recordings of the princess and a man that wasn't her husband were released. The recording was an intimate phone call between Diana and James Gilby. According to sources, the two were an item, and the recording pretty much confirmed this notion. In the phone call, which was said to take place on New Year's Eve, Gilby told Diana that he loved her. The whole recording was quite the scandal, especially since it was released to the media by a third party. Many believe they were released as a smear campaign to make Princess Diana look bad. Considering the marriage was already on the rocks, it was hard for the public to back Prince Charles, so it's suspected that the royal family did everything they could to save face, even if that meant throwing Princess Diana under the bus. In the end, the incident became known as Squidgygate, and it wasn't the last infidelity to rock the marriage. After Princess Diana and Prince Charles divorced, more and more details of the marriage came to light. Like that time Diana told the press that there were 3 people in the marriage and it became too crowded. We all know now that she was talking about Camilla. According to sources, Camilla was even present in their marriage. She was a lifelong friend of Prince Charles, but eventually she became more than that. After their split in 1993, a publication released the transcript of a phone call between Prince Charles and Camilla. The phone call is said to take place in 1989 when Prince Charles and Camilla were married to other people. If this sounds familiar, it's because it was recorded just 2 weeks before the infamous Squidgygate recording. Sadly, the transcript and the lashback came out a year after Princess Diana's scandal. The recording revealed some very personal conversation between the two, and let's just say it was not appropriate for 2 people who were already married. In the end, it proved that Diana was right and that Camilla and Charles were very much involved with one another. And just like Diana's secret recordings, this phone call became a royal family scandal. This time, it was appropriately named Camillagate. And as we know now, this wouldn't be the last time Camilla and Prince Charles made headlines. While we love all the juicy details of the relationships in the royal family, let's move on to something a bit more lighthearted: the travel secrets of the royals. Because they are so rich and well known, the royals vacation much differently than the rest of the world, like the fact that they have to travel with bags full of their own blood. Hey, you never know what could happen when you travel abroad. That's why the Queen and Prince Charles always travel with a bag of their blood when they go to countries with questionable blood supplies. That also means they have to travel with a doctor at all times. But when you can afford to have your own blood supply, hiring a personal doctor is no big deal. While we're on the subject, you'd be shocked at how much the royals spend on their travel. In 2017, it's reported they spent $5.8 million on travel expenses. That includes a $200,000 trip around Europe for Prince Charles alone. They could buy another castle for that kind of money. But it's just another day in the life of a royal. This colossal budget might also have something to do with the fact that the royal family always travels with an entourage. From security guards to hairdressers, there is a team of workers that keep the royal family protected and looking their best. It's said that the Queen travels with up to 34 people in her crew. On the other hand, Kate and William only need about 12 staffers in their entourage. Either way, it sounds costly and over the top to commoners. What might be shocking to you is that the royals have to do many of the same things commoners do, like the fact that they have to go through immigration offices like everyone else, which can get a little tricky for the Queen who doesn't have a passport. If you are wondering why, it's because in the UK the Queen is in charge of issuing passports, so needless to say, she can't issue one to herself. The most surprising travel secret of all is that the royals fly commercial. That's right, Prince William, Kate, Meghan, and Prince Harry are all known to fly using British Airways or American Airlines. But that's not the same for their grandparents, the Queen and Prince Philip. In their old age, they'd rather be comfortable than be caught flying economy on a commercial flight. Considering they spent nearly $6 million on travel in 1 year, it's needless to say the royal family has some serious bankroll, which means they probably have to pay an arm and a leg when it comes to tax time. But that doesn't mean they are always going to do so. The world was shocked in 2017 when the Paradise Papers revealed the Queen had an offshore tax haven. The Paradise Papers scandal was caused by the leak of a massive amount of documents. The document revealed the names of very wealthy people around the world who had been using offshore accounts. The primary reason wealthy people do this is to avoid paying taxes, but surprisingly, this isn't illegal. It is, however, a moral no-no. So when it was released that the Queen could possibly be investing in a tax haven account, many British citizens were upset. Eventually, the Queen denied having anything to do with the investment. Now, let's get back to the juicy gossip, like the relationships within the royal family. And this time, we aren't talking about husbands and wives. We are looking at how the family interacts with one another and what possible feuds wreaked havoc within Buckingham Palace, like the rumored feud between Princess Diana and Princess Margaret. For those of you who don't know the royal family tree that well, Princess Margaret was the Queen's sister and the aunt of Prince Charles. And according to sources, she had a disliking of Princess Diana that she took with her to the grave. While it was Princess Margaret who was one of the first royals to welcome Diana to the family, in the end she became really cold towards her. It all went down after the ex-royal gave a candid interview to the press. As we said before, Princess Diana shed light on her marriage to Prince Charles. It was this interview that caused Princess Margaret to write Diana off completely. She felt that Diana turned her back on the royal family. That's because Diana made a stir by talking about Charles's infidelities. Even though the story was true, Margaret could never forgive Diana for making the family look bad. From that day forward, she wouldn't let her children talk to Diana, and she couldn't even be around magazines with her image on them. According to sources, when Diana passed away in 1997, Margaret didn't even bow her head in respect. Apparently, she gave a lazy salute to the casket that has been compared to shooing away a fly. That's one heck of a grudge if you ask us. The strained relationship between Princess Margaret and Princess Diana isn't the only family feud to come to light. Now we're looking into a more current rocky friendship, the one between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton. By all accounts, it seems workers and family members in Buckingham Palace much prefer Kate Middleton. Not only that, it seems like Brits prefer the Duchess as well. So it's needless to say this doesn't sit well with Meghan Markle. By all accounts, it's no secret that the women are very different. Meghan was an actress, likes to do things her way, and doesn't play the role of a royal all too well. On the other hand, Kate loves being a royal, she follows the rules, and is widely accepted by the royal family and the British public. So it's no wonder there is some tension between them. But are all the rumors true? According to sources, it's actually the brothers that are having a bit of a hard time with one another. Friends close to the family said that it all went down in late 2017 when Harry spent the holidays with his family. He had Meg in tow, and apparently Prince William wasn't that welcoming. Prince Harry let him know he was upset with the way that William treated his girlfriend, and this was just the beginning. While they are getting on fine now, it took their father's intervention to get the brothers talking again. Even then, it seems like they are going in opposite directions. Harry and Meghan have decided to move to the countryside. They claim they want to raise their child away from the royal limelight. That being said, it seems like Prince William is taking this move more personally. But when you've lived in the shadow of your older brother, it's hard to stay there, especially when starting a new family. In the end, all these rumors should be taken with a grain of salt. The media has speculated feuds between royal family members for years. While every family has their issues, we are sure much of this is purely speculation. Yet, we still aren't finished with the royal feuds. Another member of the royal family that is rumored to have issues with his siblings is Prince Charles. The relationships between Prince Charles and his brothers and sisters have been strained from the start. It might be because he's a whole decade older than both of his brothers. It's also rumored that Prince Charles is incredibly more sensitive than his brothers. Both of these factors are a recipe for disaster in a royal household. Then there is the notion that the king and queen played favorites. According to Prince Charles, he was never really close to his parents growing up. It wasn't until after she had his two younger brothers that the queen dedicated more time to caring for her family. It's rumored that she favors Prince Andrew the most, while Prince Philip is closest with Princess Anne. This would be a lot for any child to deal with, especially one as sensitive as Prince Charles was. And it seems like these issues have crossed over into his adulthood. Not only do they badmouth each other in the press from time to time, it's rumored that that's pretty much the only communication they have. While other siblings are close and make phone calls to one another, much of the dialogue in this family is handled by secretaries. A little bizarre, but they live such independent lives that they just don't have time for communication. While communication between the siblings is a bit difficult, what has been the driving factor in their sour relationships is the fight over the throne. According to insiders, Prince Andrew doesn't think Prince Charles should be the king. He's apparently been very vocal with the Queen about this. What he's even more upset about is the slimming of the succession for the crown. Prince Charles has eliminated his siblings from being in next line for the crown. Now, the new rules make Prince Charles' family the frontrunners when it comes to becoming king and queen. This is also an issue when it comes to wages and royal honors. Now that the rules of succession have changed, there has been a significant wage gap between the royal siblings, and this rubs Prince Andrew and his children the wrong way. Because of this, Princess Beatrice has been at odds with her uncle and cousins for decades. It's rumored that she has had a huge disdain for Kate Middleton. Many speculate she's just very jealous of the Duchess. All this being said, there might be some credibility to these rumors. When it came time to turn up to Prince George's baptism, Prince Charles's siblings were nowhere to be found. Okay, we know every family fights and don't always get along, but there are times the royal family is very close-knit. Even though they married into the family, it's said that Princess Diana and Sarah Ferguson had a divorce pact. For those of you who don't know, Sarah Ferguson was the wife of Prince Andrew and the mother of Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. She's been hit with scandal after scandal, but one of the biggest ones came in 1992. As we said earlier, this was also the year that Princess Diana and Prince Charles publicly separated. As fate would have it, Sarah and Prince Andrew also announced their split. During that time, some compromising images of the ex-royal started hitting the press. Apparently, Fergie had found herself in the arms of a new man, and it was very scandalous. Let's just say the pair were very close and not shy about their affection for one another. The scandal was shocking, but no one knew that at the time, Princess Diana and Fergie had planned to announce their divorces at the same time. After years of ridicule, the pair had become close friends. They married into the royal family at a young age, and it was trying for both of them. As they became even more unhappy, they decided it was time to get out. It's rumored that Diana wanted to see how the family and the British public would react to Sarah Ferguson's exit from the royal family, and as anyone could have guessed, it wasn't pretty. Almost immediately, the royals painted Fergie to be the bad guy. Not wanting to go through this herself, Diana dropped out of the pact. It wasn't until 1996 that the couple became officially divorced. Crazy enough, it was the same year that Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew divorced as well. So in the end, it looks like they actually did go through with their divorce pact. While there aren't any divorce pacts or separations bringing down Windsor Castle, there are plenty of other rumors, like the one that Kate Middleton is already expecting another little one in 2019. Considering she had a baby in April 2018, we are pretty sure Prince William and Kate have their hands full. But that hasn't kept people from speculating, mostly because they are convinced she would want to steal the thunder from Prince Harry and Meghan's baby. Of course, this is purely speculation once again. According to bookies, another baby announcement is highly unlikely from Kate. The odds of the couple announcing they are pregnant in 2019 are 3-1. If you're not a gambler, just know these aren't good odds if you're betting on it. And considering she's had such a hard time with her other pregnancies, we are pretty sure Kate would like to take some time off from making more babies. Luckily, we can all have a cure to our royal baby fever around April 2019.
Royal news, Duchess Meghan is expecting a child.
That's when Meghan Markle is expected to give birth to her little bundle of joy. This will also mean that her new baby girl or boy will be almost exactly 1 year younger than Prince Louis, Kate and Prince William's youngest child. Speaking of royal pregnancies and babies, one of the most significant announcements to come from Windsor Castle came in 1981.
Princess Diana pregnant just 4 months after she and Charles got married.
This wasn't long after Princess Diana and Prince Charles tied the knot, and they had something else to look forward to, a baby. That baby was Prince William, and he's the prince that almost didn't happen. Let's explain. Back in 1991, Princess Diana made a series of recordings for a biographer. In the recordings, Princess Diana gave intimate details of her marriage with Prince Charles. In one story, she confessed to throwing herself down the stairs. At the time, she was a newlywed and wasn't getting nearly enough attention from her husband.
Things became so difficult that you actually tried to injure yourself. Is that true?
She was 4 months pregnant at the time, and according to the tapes, she said she was crying every day. All she wanted was Prince Charles to listen to her, but when he dismissed her, she threw herself down the stairs in a fit. You can imagine this was a scary scene primarily because she was pregnant. It was so bad that the Queen heard everything and ended up coming out of her room to check on Diana. While her stomach was very bruised, they were lucky nothing happened to the baby. Years later, it was revealed that Princess Diana was dealing with some severe mental illness. And 20 years after her passing, Prince Harry spoke out about his own issues with mental illness.
Everyone needs a hug every now and then, and it so happens that I've been told over and over again that I'm very good with hugs.
It was a hard topic, but everyone was very supportive of the prince. Mental illness is never an easy topic to talk about, but it's nice that the conversation is becoming less taboo. That being said, let's move on to a lighter side of the British royal family.
Like President Trump.
While we've already talked about their travel secrets and budgets, let's take a look at some of the luxury digs they enjoy while out of the palace. Since 1977, the royal family has made frequent trips to Mustique, Caribbean. If you haven't heard of it, that's probably why the royal family goes there. They stay in luxurious villas on the 1,400-acre island, and at one time, Princess Margaret had a vacation home there. So, needless to say, this is a top vacation destination thanks to its privacy and how quiet it is. On the other hand, there is a not-so-private island that the royals love to hop to, Ibiza. The Spanish island is located in the Mediterranean Sea and has been a hotspot for the wealthy since the 1960s. So it's no wonder that you'll spot a royal or two letting loose in Ibiza. Before she was a part of the royal family, Meghan Markle would party on the island of love. And it was that spot that Beatrice took Princess Eugenie for her bachelorette party. If you want to party like a royal, you can do so in Ibiza. Just keep your eyes peeled because you just might catch yourself rubbing elbows with a royal.
Have a great afternoon.
We know that they have some serious cash in the bank, but this next island is a bit lavish even for a royal. Back in 1989, Princess Diana and her sons visited Necker Island. It's part of the British Virgin Islands and happens to be owned by Sir Richard Branson. The exclusive island has played host to some major celebrities like the Obamas, as well as Oscar winner Kate Winslet.
There was nothing on the island when we first came here.
While you can still go and visit the island yourself, it would put you back a pretty penny. You can rent the private island along with 29 of your closest friends and family for a whopping $60,000 a night. No big deal, right?
The salad is ready.
That's just the price you have to pay when you want to live like a royal. We knew they traveled all over the world for their duties, but we had no idea just how lavish the royal family lived.
Had we thought of that?
It must be nice to have so much money that you can literally rent an island. It's also surprising to find out where this family vacations. They try to keep everything very secret and hope to avoid paparazzi while they're away. Heck, we still don't even know where Meghan and Harry went on their honeymoon. Which just goes to show how well they've done to keep most of their vacation hotspots a secret. It isn't only their getaway spots they like to keep under wraps. There are certain secrets about their private lives that are secret as well.
So the serious one? The serious one? Do you want the serious one?
Well, in this case, it's a conspiracy theory that has everyone convinced Prince Harry isn't the biological son of Prince Charles.
For years, it was the rumor that set tongues wagging. Was James Hewitt Prince Harry's real father?
While the royal family adamantly denies this theory, some of the clues are hard to just laugh off. Just look at the guy everyone thinks is Prince Harry's birth. Now look at a pic of Prince Harry's father, Prince Charles. Pretty telling, right? So what's the deal with this rumor? Let's dive into it.
We struggled a bit with it. It was very difficult. And then my husband decided that we'd do separate engagements.
It all started in 1986 when, according to Princess Diana, she began a relationship with James Hewitt. If you're any good at math, you'll notice this was 2 years after Prince Harry was born. Oh, so that should mean James isn't the father, right? Well, let's keep looking at the facts. The couple went on to have a secret relationship for 5 years. They were reportedly profoundly in love with one another, even though Diana was still married to Prince Charles. Sadly, they had to call it quits when the press caught wind of their relationship. All this being said, everyone denies that Prince Harry is James' son.
Are you Harry's father?
No, I'm not.
Even the man himself says that he didn't meet Diana until Harry was already a toddler. This rumor was something that used to upset the princess deeply. But when you look at the photographic evidence, it's impossible to deny the resemblance between Harry and James. Even the royal family doesn't question the fact that Harry is Prince Charles' son. They just think it was an inconvenient coincidence that both James and Harry have red hair. Either way, the rumor persists even though there is no shred of evidence to actually back it up. And we are pretty sure both Prince Harry and James Hewitt are sick of all the speculation. Another royal who is sick of making headlines is Princess Beatrice.
Have any celebrity crushes?
Even before she was 18 years old, people cared way too much about her personal life. But when she decided to date a man with a questionable past, many people raised their eyebrows. She was only 17 at the time, and people were already having a go at Beatrice's new beau. That's because he had a pretty alarming rap sheet. It isn't every day a royal dates an ex-convict after all, so it's no wonder many people were concerned about the young princess's new man. So, who was this man and what did he do? His name is Paolo Luzzo. He and Beatrice became an item in 2006, and the relationship caused some bad PR for the royal family. That's because Paolo had been convicted of assault and battery. The incident happened before he met the princess, but when you start dating a royal, nothing about your past can be kept secret. The incident occurred when Paolo got into a severe altercation that led him to be arrested for manslaughter. While we don't know all the details of the quarrel, the person he got into a fight with ended up passing away because of the altercation. Needless to say, this should have been a major red flag for Beatrice. It indeed was one for the royal family. Though the two didn't last, the royals didn't hold Paolo's past against him. When asked about her daughter's choice in men, Sarah Ferguson stated that she trusted her daughter's judgment.
You know, one job I've done better than many people is I've been a good mother.
We suspect she knew the young love wouldn't last. It isn't unlike the royal family to meddle in relationships, though. Just take a look at Princess Margaret's love life. She was the sister of the Queen and was the wild child of the family.
I need to speak to my sister. No!
From her partying past to her relationships with questionable men, she always found herself in the headlines. She also found herself at constant odds with the Queen because of her choice in partners. It all started around the time the Queen took the crown. Fresh off the heels of their father's passing and a hectic time in the castle, Princess Margaret fell in love with a controversial man. Not only was he 16 years older than Margaret, but he was a divorced man. Back in the day, it was an absolute no-no to marry someone whose former spouse was still alive. It was also a bad look for the princess to fall in love with the right-hand man of her late father. Once it came out that the two had fallen for each other, rumors of an engagement started to spread.
From Buckingham Palace to clarify the rumors of a romance between Princess Margaret and Group Captain Townsend.
Sadly, this didn't last long. Not only did the Crown ban the union, but so did the government of England.
I cannot allow you to marry Peter.
They told Princess Margaret that she would have to choose her royal title and lifestyle or her man. She decided to keep her title, but it's speculated she never forgave her sister, the Queen, for not having her back.
How could you? Margaret.
You gave me your word.
Could you imagine your sibling having a say on who you married or not?
Well, is there something you know? Because if there is, tell me now. Tell me now.
This had to have a great impact on their relationship. They did eventually make up, and Margaret moved on. This time, her new man made just as many headlines as she did. After she was denied marriage to the love of her life, Margaret found herself in the arms of a new man. The pair married in 1960, but it was destined for doom. Soon after Princess Margaret tied the knot with Anthony Armstrong Jones, the rumor mill started spinning. From illegal substance abuse to a number of infidelities, it seemed like Anthony wasn't the best husband. Then there were the rumors that questioned whether Anthony liked men or women, or perhaps both. It wasn't until photos of the princess with a younger man leaked that Anthony filed for divorce. He was trying to get the public on his side by playing the victim. It worked for a while until reports came out that he had fathered a child a mere months before he married the princess. Talk about all the drama. Princess Margaret's love life makes the rest of the family look like child's play. While all these controversies and secrets could be hard to believe, the biggest one of all is the fact that the royal family may not be who they say they are. What, you might be asking yourself? But just hear us out on this one, because it comes down to science and hundreds of years of possible lies. Now, we should be clear, the royal family by all means is the legal royal family of Great Britain. But as far as their DNA goes, they could be complete imposters. After missing for over 500 years, King Richard III's body was found. There were always rumors as to what happened to the body, but ultimately it turned up under a parking lot in London in 2012. How this body ended up there is beyond anyone, but talk about bizarre. And the reason we know it was his body is because of a DNA test. Though the analysis confirmed it was the missing king's remains, there was a bit of an issue. The DNA sample didn't link up with any of the current royals. This meant that King Richard III had no living family members on the throne. How could this happen? The royals don't even make skin-to-skin contact with commoners, and they travel with bags of their own blood. They go to great lengths to protect the royal bloodline, yet here we are with possible imposters on the throne. It's speculated that this possibly occurred because of an affair that split the bloodline away from the royal family. No one knows when this could have happened, but depending on how long ago means that there could have been several kings and queens who weren't actually members of the royal family. Mind blown, and in not as shocking news, the DNA sample showed that King Richard III probably had blonde hair and blue eyes, which if you've ever seen pictures of the king means that they aren't accurate. Who really cares about the color of King Richard's hair when we've just dropped a bombshell? Whether or not they are the actual royal family, we don't care. And to be fair, no one knows if King Richard III was even the same blood as the royals before him. There will never be any way to know. What we do know, however, is that the British royal family is entirely fascinating. They have survived life in the public eye for centuries, and they show no signs of slowing down. We just wonder what will happen next in this ever-growing family. Considering Kate and Meghan keep adding more family members, it's only a matter of time before some new secrets and scandals pop up. Until then, our eyes will be watching and waiting for the latest from Buckingham Palace. But before we go, we are going to go a little bit back in history to take a look at one of the most exciting royals of all, Prince George, Duke of Kent. He's been labeled the Forgotten Prince, and while that might be true, many historians are fascinated by Prince George. He was the son of King George V and Queen Mary. Historians have revealed that King George and his wife were deeply conservative. It's said that he ruled so tyrannically that his children would faint when given just a stern look from the king. It's also believed that Queen Mary preferred her children seen and not heard, so you can imagine how fun Prince George's childhood was. That could be why he began to rebel the older he got. According to historians, George was a very sensitive type and wasn't at all suited for the military. But that didn't keep his father from pushing him to join the Navy, which he did, but had a miserable time doing so. He tried on several accounts to leave the Royal Navy, but wasn't allowed to do so. Eventually, he decided to start living his life with no restrictions. He entered a tango contest under a false name in France and won, and he had very indiscreet romantic relationships with both men and women. Considering how conservative his parents were, you can imagine this didn't sit well with the king and queen. The prince even had a 19-year relationship with another man, but the royal family kept it under wraps. This was in the 1920s, and we can only assume the controversy and PR issues it brought up for the crown. Not to mention the fact that same-gender relationships were still illegal in Great Britain at the time. Regardless of this relationship, Prince George did end up getting married. In the end, the prince wouldn't make it past his 40th birthday. He passed away because of a plane crash during World War II. While the public has come up with some conspiracies as to how the plane went down, the details of the incident have been kept away from the public eye, which has many conspiracy theorists speculating that the royal family may have had something to do with it. Yep, they sure are one wild family, and we didn't even have to dive back that far to see just how much controversy the royal family has stirred up. One thing is for sure, wherever there is a royal secret, there will be someone there to bring it to light. We just wonder what will be revealed next. That's it for this video. Which royal's family secret are you most shocked by? Sound off in the comments section below. While you're at it, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to The Taco. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.